I don't care what the talking heads on ESPN or on the internet have to say. Curt Cignetti is not leaving the Indiana Hoosiers to join the Pittsburgh Steelers.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, it is the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you being here, making this your first listen or your first watch every single day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day and the nation's #1 sports podcasting network. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for making that so. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The college football playoff is here, and with one game left, FanDuel is the best place to get into the action with FanDuel. You can visit them at FanDuel.com right now to get your college football playoff profit boost every single game day. Well, the rumors have started flying, and we had to, I guess, know that this day was coming with how good Curt Cignetti is and how good Indiana football is and how successful it has been, that his name would continue to fly in every single head coaching availability across the country. We saw it with Penn State. We saw it in the SEC. We saw it in the Big 12, right? Curt Cignetti's name came up for just about every single head coaching job. And then Indiana gave him an extension to make over $11 million a year and made him a top 3 highest paid coach in college football. So that was pretty much off the table. Curt Cignetti's not going anywhere in college football. But what we didn't really think about was an NFL team who hires, or an NFL team that fires their head coach or moves on from their head coach, or in this instance, their head coach steps down, and the rumors start flying. I'm sure you've seen it by now. I'm sure you've heard it as well. The internet has run with it. ESPN is now running with it about the idea of Curt Cignetti leaving Indiana to be the next head football coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let me be the first one to tell you that is not happening. It's not going to happen. Plain and simple. That's it. It's not going to happen. He's making too much money. He's built too much already. There's too much on the line. There's too much to build on and work for in the future. Why would you start over in the NFL with a completely different formula, with a completely different system? And oh, by the way, you're coaching grown men who can look you in the face and say, no. That's the difference in college football and the NFL. I understand that we are getting dangerously close to those not being a difference, to there not being a difference between the college and the NFL level, where you have guys making just as much, if not more, money in college than you do in some of these professional deals. But there is a difference between teaching and coaching college players versus teaching and coaching an NFL player. It's just a fact. And I don't care what the Steelers say or what the Steelers do or what the Steelers would even offer him. I don't even think Curt Cignetti would pick up the phone. Now, there are some ties here, right? And the reason that this has gotten any sort of smoke is because Mark Spears on ESPN on NFL Live on Tuesday, he was the one that brought it up. He's the one that entertained the idea. He's the one that said, I like that Cignetti guy from Indiana. I think he'd be a great fit with culture on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I thought it was kind of surprising to see Mike Tomlin step down. I can't lie, but we're really going to hire a guy that's in his 60s to go and coach the NFL for the first time ever. We're really going to bank on that. We're really going to say, yeah, come on in and coach the Pittsburgh Steelers, one of the most decorated franchises in the sport. And we want you to do it for the first time. And we want you to do it for a long time, because the Steelers, think about this stat. The Steelers have had only 3 head coaches since the year 1969. I want you to sit back, close your eyes, and think about that for just a moment. Think about your own team, right? If you're an NFL fan here, think about how many head coaches your team has gone through in your lifetime Not to mention since 1969, if you were born after that date. That's absurd to think about. And so you go and hire a guy like Curt Cignetti or anybody like him at his age. You're not going to get him for 20, 25 years like you've been used to. You're going to get 4, 5, 6 years maybe out of him, especially at the pros. This is not happening. Okay. I took today to address this because it started to gain momentum. People were reaching out. They were like, what's going on? Is this real? Is this not? And I'm saying absolutely not. I'm putting this to bed. Okay. Curt Cignetti is not leaving Indiana. He has made it very clear that he wants to retire in Bloomington. And I think the work that he is putting in proves that to be the case. Folks, you don't walk in and demand the things that he demanded if you're looking to leave. You don't build the things you've built if you're planning on leaving and just handing that off to somebody else next year. Like, even if the Hoosiers win a national championship on Monday, he's not hanging it up. He's not going anywhere. He's not going to try and move on to the next challenge. He's going to try and stack onto the challenge that he's already on. That's what makes him so special. That's what's so exciting here is I get it. Coaches say they want to retire a place and go somewhere else all the time. All the time. But I believe Cignetti when he talks about Bloomington this way. I believe Cignetti when he talks about Indiana this way, and seeing the things he does and the way he acts and the way he speaks, he's not leaving the Hoosiers. So go ahead and get that out of there. He ain't going to the Steelers. He ain't going to the NFL. He ain't going to anywhere else in college football or any other level of football. I don't care if there's a Chinese league that'll pay him $18 million a year. He ain't going because he's not leaving Indiana. So I'm very confident in that. I'm putting this to bed, and we can simply move on from the silliness that is Curt Cignetti's name being tossed around for every single head coaching job. Most colleges put that to bed when he turned Penn State down and accepted a contract extension with Indiana. But now that you've got NFL coaches who are like, well, we need a winner. We need a guy that has won 144 games in his career, has a 79.5 winning percentage in his lifetime. We could use somebody like that, especially the Steelers, who have just been right above average, right? They're right there, haven't won a playoff game in however long, but they get there. Mike Tomlin got them there every time. So I understand the appeal, right? The attractiveness of Curt Cignetti, but it's not happening. So don't let your buddies tell you. Don't let talking heads tell you. Let me tell you. Curt Cignetti is not leaving Indiana. He's here to stay as long as he wants to. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by FanDuel. The college football playoff is here, and FanDuel is giving all customers even more ways to get in on every game day of the playoffs. And of course, there's only one more. It's the national championship game. And right now, every college football playoff game day, that being on Monday, FanDuel users get a profit boost waiting for them in the app. Here's what I love about it, right? You can use the profit boost on bets that you already feel comfortable about. So if you want to bet on Elijah Surratt receptions, if you want to bet on Fernando Mendoza, if you want to bet on the winner of the game being Indiana by 50, you can absolutely do that. And then you can use these profit boosts on FanDuel to just boost your payout on a bet that you're already confident in. So you can get even bigger winnings, and FanDuel pays you instantly when you win, which is perfect for playoff football. So FanDuel is the best place to get in on the action all playoffs long. So visit FanDuel.com to get your college football playoff profit boosts every single game day.